This Week in League. In a year that it's given us bushfires, a global pandemic and race wars, July brings us David Nofaluma approaching the top of the try scorer list.
Nathan Cleary quits TikTok after shocking consequences of Penrith ratbags throwing themselves pussy first at his face.
Cam Smith lectures the Warriors of the benefits of being quarantined away from your barb.
Plus, we look ahead to all of the action for round 8 of the 2020 NRL season.
All that and more This Week in League. Welcome to episode 357 of This Week in League. I'm Nate.
And I'm Jay.
The Magnum episode.
Yes.
For a second you go...
I'm trying to think.
And no, I'm not just talking about your moustache.
Oh, that's fantastic. Well, I was trying to go, hang on, Dirty Harry, Harry Seeker, deep cuts.
How do you go from Dirty Harry to Harry Seeker?
I don't know. I'm sure he did some dirty stuff.
Well, welcome.
Another
welcome.
fucking hype junior. Harry Stajelka.
Yeah.
Fuck, what happened? Is he over in Super League?
Maybe.
Yeah.
He might be a real estate agent or fucking own a F-45 by now.
Yeah, probably. That's it.
Welcome to the new listeners. As always, fucking it's going off lately. Thanks, Uncle iTunes or Uncle Apple Podcast, whatever you want to call it. Doing us a solid lately.
On that note, though, I just want to quickly use the patented stepdad data checker. Beep, 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 beep. We're going to actually have a decline this week because I predict there will be no Knights fans listening to this show at all.
Well, because they are of the softer underbellies of the competition.
Yes.
I mean, even Broncos fans might, like, at the moment it's still like an egg you've just cracked into a fry pan. They're like that's the level of that's the level of resistance to their underbelly at the moment. But it's gonna get harder because now they're starting to feel the things that Titans fans have had to experience.
Yes,
and given them the hard underbelly that forces them or that makes them wise enough not to demand credit.
Yes,
for a win.
Yeah,
or
Broncos
two.
fans have had it easy.
Yeah,
they've had like just periods of lower success, and then all of a sudden something was done about it.
Yeah. Like,
for example, when they had Henjack in the role.
Yeah,
something was done about it, and then Hook got hooked.
Well, the thing they've been raised, from childhood on a diet of on caviar and foie gras, and I mean, at the worst case scenario, maybe they have to eat sort of salmon roe on top of their fucking uni sushi or whatever.
Oof.
But it doesn't dip. It doesn't like now they got to eat some fucking pal. That ironically probably comes from the fucking hindquarters of old mate Buck. I mean, let's face it, he doesn't have to gallop around the field anymore to celebrate tries being scored because it doesn't really fucking happen that often.
Yeah, no, not at all.
But yeah, welcome Broncos fans. Strap yourselves in, motherfuckers. Now, news articles this week. There was a smorgasbord of just funny shit. This like little funny stories this week. The first one I have written down here was the death threats in Brisbane with Alex Glenn slamming cyberbullies, revealing that some of his teammates have received death threats after Brisbane slumped to 5 straight losses. An emotional Glenn said he had thrown his support behind teammates in the lead up to the clash with the Warriors after witnessing vile social media abuse. The quote was, "Certain teammates are getting death threats on social media. People can have their judgments, but that is not acceptable. Blah, 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 mental health, etc." Look, I agree with you 100%. Like, death threats are not on. Look, to be perfectly honest though, I've seen some absolutely rampaging fucking trolls in my time. And look, let's be honest. I've been one. In the
best of them.
In the old days, like that was me. But I've never thought to actually threaten a player with death. I mean, the worst I've seen is just stuff like, you need to get chucked into Reggie's and just like, but very forcefully, like, you're a fucking shit cunt, blah blah blah. I've never seen anyone outwardly say, you need
Even
to
in the
fucking,
Facebook groups.
you need to, I will fucking kill
That's
you
it.
because you are losing games. I've never seen that, like that level of distress, like what you call a death threat.
The worst I've seen is the good old, phrases like, if I played like you, I'd end myself. Which is
Yeah, and even that's like a pretty extreme, like
that's
probably the
that's
furthest
over the
end.
line.
Yeah,
That's
it is
over the line.
It's over the line, but that's also probably the furthest point you'd ever see.
Exactly,
reckon, yeah.
and that's not.
And obviously, though, yeah, people don't say it out loud. Maybe they DM it to someone. That's I completely agree that is plausible. Just saying, I haven't actually seen it. I don't know if it gets that bad, but
Yeah,
like when you got someone like Matt Lodge running around, who's literally done it face to face with people in real life.
Yeah, I wonder how Alex goes at training. Right next to old mate.
Yeah,
Or maybe Matt Lodge has fucked up here and not actually educated. You know how in lots of groups, like you got the old guy in the office,
yeah,
that thinks it's okay to tell, jokes and say that his name when he books for lunch is a huge dick.
yeah.
And someone just needs to sit him down and say that's
mate,
not okay. Maybe Matt Lodge needs to sit Alex Glenn down and explain what a death threat is, and show him video and audio footage.
Yep.
Of him actually giving death threats. That'd be fantastic.
Yeah. And once again, going back to what we said at the start of the show, like death threats are not on. However, strap yourself in, Broncos players and fans. You're in uncharted waters at the moment. This is probably like it's not the worst time in history yet, but
I'd say there's a bigger risk.
Give it another 5 weeks and it could be.
Yeah, I'd say there's a bigger risk of Broncos fans' death hopes for themselves instead of having to watch the sort of performance that their team put in last week.
And also don't try and exaggerate or be hyperbolic about the situation, because I'll say right now, with 100% certainty, I would love to see the death of that fucking club as an entity. Like the on-field results, they're dying. Love to see them completely die.
The support's dying.
The support's dying.
The Teflon nature of the club
dying.
Paper
bags from the thoroughbreds dead.
Allegedly. Mm-hmm. Allegedly dead.
Giving them their own poker machines at Fulcher Road, Red Hill. I believe that died around that time Andrew G seppuku'd himself.
Yeah.
So yeah, don't get it twisted. I mean, I would love to see the death of the club. However, as in terms of individual,
and I think that sort of stuff's having less and less impact. Like gone are the days when you could write an article that says people were shouting death threats from the stands.
Yeah.
And everyone reading it, oh my, that's horrible, that's this. People now on social media are like, no, hang on. No, we're on social media. We see social media.
Yeah.
There's no death threats. So
But even what is the death threated game? I mean, it's just like, fucking kill him. It's not a death threat, you know what I mean?
Let's see, if you drop another ball, I'll murder you. I don't know. That's just awkward to say. But
Darius Boyd, if you miss one more tackle, I'm going to jump this fence, run the 26 meters to where you are on the field, and literally kill you. No. I've never seen that in a game situation ever in my life.
Yeah. And it's just being disingenuous with themselves, I think. So
yeah.
Grasping at fucking straws. And Glenny boy,
you're taking these L's. Get used to more L's. The power is in your hands to turn things around. So less fucking. It's probably going to be a common theme this episode. Less cry, more do. More try. Bateman on the move.
Yes.
In what is a story of, a story in about 4 acts. Let's take a step back through time. Back to was it like the day before the grand final? Or it was right before the grand final, a couple of days at most.
A rumor
where there were rumors that he was, trying to, extend his deal, get more money or whatever, and he's come out and said, no, I'm trying to extend it at this club,
He was looking for an upgrade.
Yeah.
So,
but he was talking about he was like going to leave if he didn't get more money. That was the story, the way it was pushed out.
Yeah.
And then on social media, which he's very active on Twitter.
Yep.
He said I'm trying to get extended at this club.
Yep.
Calm the fuck down. So I'm like, okay, cool. So then a couple of months ago, the story comes out that starts leaking out that he's trying to get a release to take higher money deals and that sort of thing. And once again he comes out on social media. That's bullshit.
Yep.
Anyway, so where the smoke was, comes the fire this week with Bateman considering at least 2 attractive deals for next year and beyond after informing Canberra that he will be departing at the season's end. So the Bulldogs have offered him a 3-year, $2 million deal, and his former Super League club Wigan have offered him a 4-year deal around the $2 million mark. I think it's actually a £2 million mark though, which is significantly higher than 2 million Australian dollars.
Correct.
Now look, they're saying he's likely to return to Wigan, where his daughter and the rest of his family live. That to me sounds like a no-brainer, and a strategy that in this particular time with the pandemic and everything, just exacerbating the feelings of disconnection and ability to see your loved ones.
Yep.
Would be far more top of mind. You would expect, but then we had Ricky come out and had some choice shit to say.
Yep.
And look, I think like Ricky Stewart is a fucking world champion sook.
Yes.
And he's done the same thing on coaching merry-go-rounds as Bateman. He's also had the whole sacking in Parramatta, turning that place into a shamble with the fucking OHP.
Yep.
So he can't really. I mean, I can understand that he can be, certainly he's entitled to be upset the way this has gone down. And but look, mate, fucking take a look in the mirror too. I mean, you've done your shit as well.
You got to remember, it's very much here in the Donald Trump mold, and by that I mean Donald Trump says something at the moment, and people in Australia go, rubber, 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 rubber. Well, they just need to stop and think that he gives no fucks at all about what anyone outside of his sphere of influence does. The only person he's talking to there is the American voter. So
not even that, just his
his base. So the only person Ricky Stewart's talking to here is the Canberra supporter.
Yep.
He might garner a little bit of support from some neutrals or some people on the side, but really, he's trying to soften the blow of them essentially losing
one of their star
a negotiation. Now, all this comes down, and I don't know whether people have had a chance to read it yet, but Moses has come back and responded to Ricky's spray.
I haven't seen his response because before we get into that, the quality part of Ricky's spray was where he's saying that we took the decision to release him from the last year of the deal and not play his game because we don't want to be one of these clubs like the Broncos and the Warriors who have been bent over by Moses, and we're not going to let it happen here. Yeah, which was great. Now Moses said
he said a lot of stuff, and he's basically come out, and he's a pretty smooth operator. He's not dumb.
Yep.
You don't get to the heights that he has in his part of the game without being shrewd. He hasn't gone in on Ricky. He's done the good old, I've got the utmost respect for Ricky. I love Ricky, but he's not right here. But one thing that's interesting is that he does come out and say it was Canberra who agreed to a clause in Bateman's contract that allowed him to revisit his salary at the end of every season.
Yeah, okay.
Now, I've gone on so much about how, there should be performance bonuses.
Yep.
And I don't know why clubs don't start doing it. And I think now if you look at players like Milford and Hunt and other $1 million players who just aren't performing, that it would be a fucking smart thing for clubs to do, to start saying...
I'd love to give players the opportunity to earn $1 million if they...
But have the ability to downgrade them.
Yeah.
Just say that, but based on your performance, if your performance isn't this, we reserve the right to fucking downgrade you.
Well, yeah, this is the thing. You just don't even put yourself in a position where you have to downgrade them. You just give them like what the downgraded salary would be.
Yeah.
That's what they would you call that their base salary.
Yeah, that's
and
it.
then you apply incentives on top of that for finals, top four,
That's it.
grand final, win. Yeah,
Like other jobs where you have fucking KPIs, and if you hit those, you get paid more. But at the end of the day, it seems like here, Canberra is not like Ricky saying that they won't put themselves in the position to be bent over. They'd already done that by agreeing to a clause that says they'll review his salary every year. They've already done that.
But what they have done, instead of letting it drag on in his favour the whole, the entire time, they've just taken control of it and said, okay, that's it. We're not going to play that game anymore.
Yep.
Doesn't matter what happens. You're gone.
Yep.
And now they've got, however, I'm not sure what dollars he's on at the moment.
I would also like to see that, because that also shouldn't put the club in a difficult position, because what's going to happen here is they're going to need to replace him.
Yeah.
And they're working under the same salary cap.
Yep.
And the club that signs him, wherever that may be, knows that they're going to need to replace him. And so they're going to start to play silly buggers with, oh, yes, well, we'll take him off your hands because he doesn't want to be there, but we can only afford this, and so you'll have to carry, even if it's $100,000 or whatever it is. I think that if a player requests the release, then it's just done.
I think that is the case, though.
You sure?
Yeah, I don't think they're going to have to. I don't think they have to carry anything. I think they're actually in an okay
I thought there had to
position.
be special dispensation for that.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, once again, I'm not, without knowing.
We're not player agents.
Exactly. What else do we have here? I'll tell you what, this fucking Isaac Moses situation. I had heard about a situation where where he tried it on at Manly. I didn't know who the player was until yesterday. But fucking Blake Green is Moses. He had a year left to run at Manly.
Yeah.
And the reason why we let him go to the Warriors, I mean, because the whole story is, he left the Warriors. They were offering him a 3-year big dollar deal. The reason why he got released to go to the Warriors is because Moses is basically like, just be a cunt and just don't turn up to training in the preseason.
Fuck.
And so it wasn't anything to do with his on-field, but it was his off-field stuff.
Yeah.
So I hereby retract everything I said about Blake Green, and his contract's up again too, and we'll probably need a 5/8 or whatever, and he's the last fucking person on earth I would have in my club now.
Oh, if you could get him at pennies on the dollar, and if he comes skulking
Okay,
back in with a little bit of a fucking changed attitude,
so
because he's got to realise he fucked up.
This is way off subject, but let's say you're looking for a 5/8 next year, and you've got a couple of options on the table. The most unlikely one, because I'm sure he'll get extended before it comes up, is like, let's say Burton, obviously young and like talented. If you get him, you do it every day.
Yep.
Then so otherwise, looking at guys that are off contract, it's really like it's more veteran ones. So you go, the oldest one on the books would be like someone like Maloney, right? Who's past it in my opinion, right?
Yep.
But let's say he'd be free. And he might want to come back once again after this pandemic shit. Blake Green, I think he's about 32 or something. So he's not as old as Maloney. Or 29-year-old Kieran Foran.
Yeah.
Honestly, if Kieran Foran got through this entire fucking season, and he was gonna drop 500 off his asking price, which he said he would do.
Yep.
All fucking day, 2-year deal. Earn it.
Yeah, I know. I think there would be, and again, if I put myself in Desi's shoes, I see benefit in somebody coming back, and it's a similar situation with Benji. Somebody coming back humbled, is very different than them just coming back.
Yeah.
So exactly. If he's gone, like he had this thing with Manly, and it was great. He was just the steadier of the ship. He was the foil to DCE. He had to do very little except just be reliable when called upon.
Yep.
He's obviously realised he's fucked up.
Yep.
And if he comes back, and he's big enough to go, yep, I'm fucking sorry. I was led astray by cunt Moses. I'd welcome him back with open arms.
Yeah,
you'd be tough on him, though.
But that's obviously way off the. Well, also Blake Green left under Barrett's watch as well.
Yeah, true.
So it's a totally different situation as well. Yeah.
So he's no judge of a good coach.
Desi just be like, all right, can't fucking see ya. Enjoy Blacktown for a year.
Well, yeah, it'd be almost like what he did with Sully.
Yeah. He's super happy to just draw a line in the sand and say fucking do it or not.
Yeah,
or don't.
spot on.
Yep. And generally speaking, he gets them to do it. What's the other story I've got here? Oh, the dressing room situation there after the game where the Warriors were pumped by the Storm, and Cameron Smith and Craig Bellamy and Ryan Hoffman were seen speaking to the opposition in the sheds, and Hoffman said it was tough. We wanted to go in there and show our appreciation and admiration for what they've been doing, not only for the move, but what happened with Kearney, who's a good friend of mine, someone I played with and was coached by, just to try and show some solidarity. It was very hard to not sound condescending or feel patronising to them, because I'm sure they don't want sympathy. I just wanted to let them know the admiration I have for Roger, Tuvascek, and the team and what they're doing. To be honest, I got a bit emotional in talking to them. Blah, blah. I would have liked that story a lot more if it never came out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like to see the images from the dressing room overhead cameras with them in their lecture room and the faces of the Warriors players that just like fucking teleport me anywhere.
It was
except where I am right now.
It was a rugby league version of Billy Slater giving dinner to fucking homeless people.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm sure what they look and look. I've had my issues with the Storm and everything. I'm sure what they said was very nice and
heartfelt
exactly. But man, I just wish it had happened not on cameras, and like I'd wish we'd never heard of the story.
Yep.
Or if it came out, it was just like some Warriors player in passing mentioned it or something, rather than it being we're seeing this thing.
That's it.
Because after you pumped the team by 50. It's like, I mean, even if it weren't like they were sitting there in a classroom getting lectured to, and it was just like you saw like Cameron Smith sitting on the bench next to, RTS and Bellamy and Peyton, and they were having a beer and it's just this moment of solidarity or something. I feel like that would have sat better.
Yeah,
but
exactly. The whole thing of being lectured to.
Yeah. We've just fucking given you a lesson, and now here is the examination after.
You're right. Can you imagine how different that picture is? Like, the good old fucking, hey, let do a jersey swap or this or sit down and yeah.
Dare I say, even a fucking prayer circle
or a circle jerk.
Like some sort of NRL, team coloured themed human centipede.
Yes. Well, Warriors jersey already looked like a, Bukaki mural.
Yeah, it did.
Jackson Pollock.
It did look like the diaper on the final centipede on a train of like 34 centipedes.
Yeah, that's it.
Is there any more of the stories that came out this week that you want to talk about?
Oh, everything at this stage is can be talked about in the games. There's the stuff at Brisbane that we've spoken about.
Yep.
There's the fact that Wayne's come out and just absolutely smashed the entire Broncos as a staff record label and
not unprovoked though, because you had old mate from the Broncos implying that Seabold's troubles start with the damage, the wreckage that Wayne left behind, etc., etc. And the thing these fucking people don't realise is it was like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
We were there. We've seen all this shit.
Yeah.
And we saw that all of the media and publicity, everything was Wayne wants to stay at the Broncos and complete the deal that he signed because that's kind of the guy he is.
Yeah. And
he's projected himself to be over the course of a very long fucking distinguished coaching career.
Yes.
But the Broncos, they want to get Seabold in. And Seabold, poor me. They said they were gonna get rid of Wayne early, but now they're not. And my fucking kids are got to change schools and blah blah fucking blah.
Yeah.
And after all that, they still want to imply that Seabold's woes this year are because of the wreckage Wayne left them at the start of last year.
Yeah. Look, at the end of Wayne's tenure at the Broncos, there were some questionable positional choices. There was the Cody at 7 thing. There was Ben Hunt, and Ben Hunt's confidence was shot towards the end of it.
Well, you had Milford, fullback Milford,
Yeah.
half Milford. Then you had fullback Darius, he was like 5'8" Darius.
But again, they were questionable, and the Broncos were still doing Bronco things. They still had this core of basic grit, effort, and togetherness, which can go a long fucking way, especially when you are a team that every home game has major travel involved for the other one.
Yeah, yeah.
They had Suncorp being a thing. And so that was like that thing I was talking about before. For the Broncos fans, it's just periods of lower achievement, not crisis. That was as bad as it got under Wayne.
Yeah.
But yeah, Wayne's come out and said he's got 12 prep players, but no one's playing to their talent.
Yeah.
He's not wrong.
And at the end of the day, if players aren't playing to their talent, the buck stops at one place.
Yep.
And we shall see. The problem with the Broncos is, and this is a culmination of the deal Seabold was brought up on, the hype Seabold was brought in on, the various directors and board people who've stuck their neck out and also been accomplices to some of the high level decision making, plus like the legacy, the history of the entire club and the success in the past of the entire club, the fact that it's a coach after, all these things congeal together.
And I'll tell you what, I suggest the saddest part of this
is nothing.
Is what I am assuming is the deteriorated relationship between Darren Lockyer and Wayne Bennett. And it just points to what an ungrateful cunt of a human Lockyer is, because Bennett made him. Was undoubtedly a talented football player, but Wayne Bennett made his career. Shepherded him through every tough moment, guided him through all of the major fucking obstacles that he faced.
Literally had situations where either Wayne or other people dove on fucking live grenades.
Yes. Yeah.
So they didn't detonate on him.
Correct. Yeah. Wendell. And for the fact that he can't come out now and at least out of personal respect say whatever comes out and whatever anyone says to media about this, Wayne's name doesn't come up.
And it's in his power to pass that edict
he's on the
down
fucking
from above.
Board of the club and allegedly involved in coaching.
But when Wayne was running the place, it's like when Desi runs a place and when Bellamy runs a place, in that there's this powerful figure at the top, and motherfuckers underneath on the pyramid don't talk out of school. It just doesn't happen because the consequences are fucking grave for people who do. There's a consistent message that they're all going to pump out, and if you can't do that, then you're one of the people who don't speak.
And the fascinating thing to me on this is they say, the old cliche is that a fish rots from the head. And if you look at the one thing that's lacking in that Broncos team, because it's not talent,
no,
it's not potential,
no, definitely not.
It's not even really effort, because there's a bunch of those guys trying their guts out.
Yeah.
But they're doing it at an individual level.
Yeah, but there's also some key people who aren't doing a goddamn thing. So,
correct, but there's no cohesion in that team.
Yeah. Right.
And then if you work your way up the chain, there's no cohesion in that club anywhere.
No.
There's the coach who's out there only worried about himself, reminding everyone in his press conference he's got a 5-year deal.
And you're getting all these random, like Darren Lockyer's not a random person, but you're getting these random board members speaking to the media as well.
Yeah.
Who the fuck is on the Panthers board?
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know.
Brandy. That's all I fucking care about.
Look, I would assume that Brandy is.
Yeah.
I didn't know that for sure, but I would assume he is.
Yeah.
But honestly, otherwise, because...
When do they speak on anything?
Exactly. And the same goes for almost every other club.
Yeah. That's it. If there's anything that comes out of Manly, it's the Pens.
Yep. And why not? They fucking own the place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
it's crazy.
Rough
one. Yeah, okay. So on that note, I think that's probably all the news articles to speak about this week. Moving on. Righto, recaps. This is the fourth week back, fifth week back, sixth week back. I don't know. We're going to try and streamline them even more because, as I say every week, our stated goal was with a regular Wednesday night recording time. The games are literally a week old by the time you're listening to them. Listening to these episodes. So we're going to really try and keep it fucking simple. Thursday night, the Panthers 20 defeat the Rabbitohs 12 at Netstrata Jubilee Stadium. Tries to Naden, Cleary, Crichton, Edwards. Cleary 1 of 4 conversions, a penalty goal, and the Rabbits 12 tries to Bailey Sirinen. I believe that was his first NRL try. And Alex Johnson, Reynolds 2 of 2 conversions.
It was very, very pleasing to see, first of all, that they could continue the intensity that the Panthers have been playing with. Mm-hmm. They'd had some big games over the past couple of weeks, mixed results, obviously, but it didn't get any easier for them. And Souths opened this game and put tremendous pressure and really came out and dictated they were going to play an up-tempo style of football, and Penrith handled it. They really seem to be having a lot more faith in themselves that this is a long 80-minute game and there's going to be ebbs and flows and we can weather these storms.
That's the best thing about the Panthers. Like they actually they're just in the game the whole time.
Yes.
And like their mistakes are low. Completions are pretty high. Mm-hmm. Missed tackles are low.
Yep.
But their attack is still, I don't think, great. They seem to get, especially this one, they got some very fortunate sort of tries that were almost directly attributable to the fact that Latrell Mitchell cannot fucking play fullback.
Yeah, that's it.
I just don't know if it's ever going to happen.
Although, to that note, the modern NRL defensive line is incredibly hard to break.
Yeah.
Especially from close range.
Yeah. And
if it takes the vision for you to notice that the fullback being out of position is your best opportunity, then I don't see any problem with taking it.
Yeah, well, there's no problem with taking it, but I mean, at the end of the day, when tries are scored because the fullback is like like that image you showed me earlier, like where the fullback is 20 meters away from when the fullback's 20 meters away from the play and standing there with his hands on his hips, like watching it. He's not trotting. He's not madly. He's not out of position and desperately sprinting to the play. He's just standing there like just.
That's it. I'm
like,
out.
Like even if Edwards didn't score, I mean, you still motherfucker. I mean,
yeah.
What next?
Yeah.
Next play. Play. Like it's unbelievable.
And that may have been the problem. Maybe he's thinking, okay, that'll get wrapped up, then the kick will come back this way, so I'm being efficient here. I don't fucking know. Yeah. That's not how.
Unfortunately, the fullbacks don't get to be efficient. They sprint to one and then they fucking sprint back to the other when the ball shifts that way. Yeah. You know? That's just the way it is.
And this was just an unhappy night for Latrell all around. There were some bad reads in defence, and there was that try too hard Latrell in attack.
Yeah, and being like caught out of position after that.
There's been those last couple of weeks where he's thrown those like gorgeous 2-person cutout pass that land exactly on the chest of a winger, and it's absolutely gorgeous to watch. This was one of those nights where he was going for those and.
But the funny thing, it didn't really,
spilling him out the front.
It didn't even really feel like he was even going for those. Like even his involvements were just shittier.
Yeah.
And look, I guess at the end of the day, we probably both expected more out of the Rabbits based on the results when they'd seemed to have turned it around. But then you look and you go, okay, it was the Warriors and fucking Titans or whatever. So I guess maybe they're not.
It is interesting that the team that a lot of people, myself included, had anticipated to benefit maybe the most from this 6 again rule change was the one with Damien Cook at hooker,
and he's done very little.
I don't know whether it's confidence. I don't know whether it's game plan. Who knows? But he's not decisive. When he was playing his best football, he was getting out of dummy half, and I am going to go at the defensive line, and it was up to the rest of the team to go with him. He seems to have tailored himself back to being available for what they present to him.
I mean, if that's not coming from Wayne, then even if it is coming from Wayne, dude, watch some tape. I mean, I don't want to big up Seabold in any way, shape, or form, mate. Like, believe me, I'm with you. But
maybe it is that just enough of Wayne's attention at the moment, because a big bit of his attention would be going on Latrell, it'd be going on Jimmy.
Yeah.
trying to get him back into the side.
Yeah.
But overall, just again, another solid performance by Penrith. Made even better by the revelation that Nathan Cleary couldn't fucking see properly and had been in hospital for 6 hours with a drip because, he had
he had like
pussy crust.
It was like a staph infection in like the middle of his eyes.
Yeah.
In the middle of his eyebrows.
Yeah.
And to which I say is, rugby league is a contact sport, so transmission of staph and things like that are certainly possible, but it's not like it's martial arts, or it's not like it's jiu-jitsu or stuff where there's rolling on mats and all that sort of thing, where it's MMA and things like that, where it can be a much larger problem. Wash your fucking face, you grub. If you're gonna fucking go diving for oysters in the snatches of fucking Western Sydney fives, wash your fucking face, lad.
Well, you know what? Maybe it's the extra inclusion to medical staff and premises that they're under. Maybe it was a transmissible piggyback in from a dirty doctor. That's my story.
Maybe that's the thing. They're in the bubble too at the moment. So I mean, it's just there's some dirty cunt in within like that. Probably 30-person group.
It's in the bubble. That's it.
We need a full genital check to see who was teabagging Nathan when he wasn't looking. Hit some tweets.
Jason Hogan gave us a TWIL haiku. I don't know whether Jason Hogan's been around long enough to know that haikus generally only apply to hiku.
It doesn't matter.
But
we are pro the arts.
He played for Penrith once. So his TWIL haiku is Yuri of Cleary. Copped a knock between the eyes. Vision not Cleary. There you go. At Rick the Warden said, why the fuck does Cleary look like a vampire from Buffy? Which is funny because someone who's so against stealing content put that in after I'd put that in a DM that he's a member of. Huh. He's a fucking Napster of Twitter content. Be better. Ben Mulligan said, hashtag Yuri of motherfucking Cleary, but for real. Ben in Facebook said, Penrith have made me a believer tonight. It truly is the Yuri of the motherfucking Cleary. John in Facebook said it was closer than it needed to be for longer than it needed to be, thanks to goal kicking, but Penrith never really looked in trouble. Genuinely interested to know if Cleary had double vision with his second head because he was whiffing those kicks like miscued golf shots.
Is that the worst kicking performance of his entire career?
Yes. And so bad from so many different places.
And some of them were like super gettable. It wasn't like he was kicking everything from the posts.
Yeah, it was beyond the fucking yips.
Yeah.
And our good mate Chris on Facebook said, the team of the people just keeps giving, showing the Cogra locals what a winning home team looks like. Hashtag Yuri of Cleary, hashtag Spurton for Burton, hashtag Dicks out for Kicks out, hashtag Fappy for Appy.
So, there's some incredibly long bows being drawn. But look, I'll get behind Spurton for Burton if he finds his way over the Spit Bridge one day. The Melbourne Storm 50 to feed the Warriors 6. The Storm, let's see the list. Hey, Verney with a hat trick, as good wingers do. It's not often we get to trot that one out these days. Moborovsky 2. Pappenhausen with a double. Brandon Smith and Josh Adokar also tries. Cameron Smith 7 of 9. Defeating the Warriors 6. Tried Patrick Herbert and a conversion to Chanel Harris to Vita. So, a costly game for the Warriors with RCS getting rubbed out. And the funny thing about this game was actually a game for at least 20 minutes. So it wasn't sort of till late in the half when Melbourne got a lead, and then at the end it was just at the end they just started avalanching him in the second half.
Yeah, 100%.
But it was actually a game for a while. The scoreline wouldn't necessarily make you.
In a regular season, and again, I want to be serious here for a second with the Warriors, but in a regular season, the teams that come out ahead, especially at this, I guess what you'd consider a midpoint, almost a midpoint, you really start to see who the mentally strong teams are.
Yep.
And this is the point where it's getting your body in shape every week, running out there, knowing that, you don't have that adrenaline of the early season anymore. Your position on the ladder
Yep.
starts to drain on you as well, or weigh on you, should say. And you add to that for these Warriors that they've got the added woes of being away from home, away from their loved ones, who knows what's going to happen, yada, yada, yada. And that sums up. At some stage, they just don't have the fucking capacity to stay in games like they need to. And personally, I don't blame them.
Yeah, they actually had that. We were talking about that, the dead cap sort of bounce that happens when a coaching change. And the start, they go, well, fucking here we go. But they actually had it all within the space of one game.
That's it. Typical Warriors.
It was like 20 minutes instead of like 2 weeks or one round of bounce back and then 3 weeks of backwards. It was 1/4 of the game up and then and then 3/4 of the game down.
Exactly. And rough one for the Storm as well, with Munster ruled out, who has been probably their bright spark in a rough season for them as well.
Yep.
Jerome Hughes is still interesting to me. Like that first break they had, he almost absolutely fucking bombed that try. Like from the tackle, he got up and went to go left. And it was only Munster screaming at him that everyone was set up on the right.
Yep.
That he stopped and came back. It's just very un-Storm-like that in that situation, he didn't have a mental fucking bullet point list of exactly what to do, with the first bullet point being look around to see what side of the field your support's on.
Like when we look at the way that Pappenhausen's come on this year, I mean, he's probably not Billy Slater, but he's fucking good.
Yeah.
Right? Munster is great. He's up there with 5/8 that the Storm have ever had.
Yep.
I mean, 5/8 hasn't really been a position that has been one of the ones that they've given they've gone 179 for so many years.
Yeah, correct.
But Munster's like a dominant half and in killer form.
Yeah.
I don't rate Hughes at all.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't surprise me if the Storm just go external and shop and snatch up Dearden from the Broncos or someone that's actually a good young half that displays potential and try and get him into their system.
It's
to fill out that position in the team, because he's one guy that just hasn't really lifted.
Well, I guess he's not just one guy. You look at there was Croft.
Yeah, and you got Jax as well.
Jax.
In there. Yep.
There's him.
Yep.
So maybe it's tougher to fit into just being that system half than
if your name's not
than it appears. Yeah,
maybe.
So, but yeah, the Melbourne Storm just did fucking Melbourne Storm things.
Next year, Cameron Smith 7. Munster 6.
I'm a fucking oracle.
Harry Grant 9.
Yeah, I'm a fucking oracle. I've predicted it.
And only for only 2 reasons, and they're both related to each other. 1, because Cameron Smith won't fucking die.
Correct.
And 2, Harry Grant is proving that he's the next gun hooker in the competition.
Yeah.
And the Storm will be fucking mental to let him slip through their grasp because Cameron Smith won't fucking
retire.
die. Yeah.
And on that note, Momirovski was good. He was very good for the Storm. But it's probably easier to get competent, second rowers or fringe edge forwards than it is to get a great hooker.
Oh, it's not even a conversation.
No, not at all.
Hit some tweets.
Big T said, my Warriors have really made some bold decisions of late. New coach, those jerseys. Yes, they were very fucking interesting. At Warriors Suck Balls on Twitter said, see my Twitter handle, #nuff said. Someone at the Warriors hide all the thin, sharp objects in case RTS wants to act on that feeling and stab himself in the dick. Talking about the face he was making. Super Grover on Twitter said, fuck yes, the mighty Melbourne Storm just did Storm things this week and everyone's family members are released from the Craig Bellamy vault. Special mentions to Paps Momirovski and the Wombat. Isn't he called the Cheese?
I mean, yeah, and we call him Superhuman.
Yeah. Like, you had 2 fucking viable options and you've gone with the Wombat.
The Wombat.
Fucking
And
be
look,
better.
and you say the Wombat, and I didn't know that was a nickname for him, but I immediately knew who you're talking about because it does make some
Yeah.
sort of
Yeah.
sense, but still,
Yeah.
pick and stick, settle on it.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Fucking doing it for the juggalos and juggalettes.
yeah, whoop whoop, fuck this shit.
Michael in the Facebook group said, Peter Hiku, turnstiling better than Darius and Bryce have all year. Lee in Facebook said, zero satisfaction to take out of that win. Have to feel for the Warriors, to be honest. Generally speaking, I'm unashamedly a pretty big fan of old Craig and his mate Cam, but not sure heading into the Warrior sheds after the game was the best move. Without knowing what was said, it seemed a bit righteous and the new coach didn't look that impressed. That is probably the only fucking time you get a sensible take from a Storm fan on Storm things.
Yes,
And on that note, Bethany said, huge improvement on last week. Yes, the Warriors were bad, and I do feel for them, but Pappenhausen looks so much better than he has in any other game this year. He's actually passing the ball. Because he passed it for Vuni's first try, Momolo actually bought the dummy later when Pappy scored his second. I would also like people to just keep these comments of the Storm in mind, in that they've acknowledged that result came against substandard opposition. And I'd like you to contrast that with Tigers fans' tweets later in the show. So there's your homework.
You done?
I'm done.
The Roosters 26 defeated the Dragons 12 at Bankwest. The Roosters 26, a hat trick to Brett Morris. Fucking BMOS, I tell you. I thought I and by extension his brother, but I thought I loved those motherfuckers in like 2016 or whatever.
Yeah.
But even now, not even playing for a team that I even like.
Yeah.
Still, led us also with a try, and Kiri, Flanagan 3 of 5 conversions. The Dragons 12 came through tries. The Rabalaba and Lomax a conversion and a penalty goal.
If there was ever an opportunity for the Dragons, and it is so fucking sad that when they're up against the Roosters outfit that just keeps fucking biscuiting themselves without remorse,
Already down on troops.
that they couldn't get it done.
And look, the credit to the Dragons in that they were fucking in this game up to their eyeballs for a very long period of time.
And it's a credit to the fucking Roosters, because I had a multi this weekend.
Yeah, they required a Rooster win.
Well, I'll tell you, it was Melbourne, Roosters,
Just straight up wins.
just straight out wins.
Yeah.
Melbourne, the Roosters, and the Knights.
Yeah.
And the Roosters were the game that the football gods tried to get to fuck up my multi. And the Roosters are good enough to get over that.
Yeah, you should have fucking known fucking better though.
Yeah, I know. I should have fucking known better. But again, the well-drilled teams know what to do in those situations. They know they're prepared. They know that, okay, this is going to be a really shitty 80 minutes and I'm not going to get as much rest as I normally am.
Yep.
Nope, let's just fucking get in and do it. Let's get on with it.
Yep.
And it's that beautiful mix, and it's a credit to their recruiting team of experience and youth across the park. And yeah, the Morris boys are something fucking special. But where a lot of other clubs would have collapsed, the Roosters just stood solid.
Hit some tweets.
Cobra Burgers on Twitter.
Oh, Cobra Burgers.
Yeah.
Been for the war.
I know. Fucking come back with a bang. Simplicity. Joey Manu, better than Latrell Mitchell. Yes.
Well,
That is
he even was in the Roosters side last year. Especially the business end of the season through the finals.
Yeah, when he turned into fucking, like, he turned on his final switch.
Yeah.
Just beast moded everyone. Devon Head on Twitter said, one team was brave, oh so brave. The other is coached by a frittata that can't even beat a 15-man squad. I'll let you work out which is which. JDHD44 on Twitter said, Jason Saab is 8'10" and I don't think I saw his chicken legs depart the ground once. Would have been better off just putting an actual Saab on one side of the field because maybe Tupu would have tripped over the exhaust pipe or something. Troy on Facebook said, Manu with the fuck your coach and your club bomb regather and no look flick try assist. That was fucking pretty. Nigel said, prayers for the Roosters, TWIL Nation. Put out your ACLs for the boys. Hashtag battlers of the comp. Hashtag the people's team. Hashtag Roosters knees matter. Oof. Our mate Winston Bunk said, "My Dragons are showing heart. That is all that counts." No, sir.
No.
Wins
The
count.
2 points count, actually.
Wins. They literally count. There is a count of them. It's called the ladder.
There's no like wild card entry to the finals for the team that has measurably displayed the most heart through the season.
Who was the shittest member of Captain Planet's fucking group of kids?
No
The
one
fucking
remembers.
heart kid.
I couldn't even tell you what any of those little fucking kids are called.
Everyone else had useful fucking power. Like one guy shoots fire, the other guy makes fucking mountains. Healing.
Whenever I think of Captain Planet, I think of that one with like
Don Cheadle. Tree.
That's like all that comes in my mind. I can't even remember. It's blown the original one out.
Them.
Yeah.
Even them. All the others are using their fucking powers.
Yeah.
And the feelings that comes in at the end. Oh, God. Danny in Facebook group said, "One would have thought that Jason Saab, after weeks of telling the world how fucking brilliant he is, and that if he doesn't get a gig immediately, he'll walk into the starting side of any other club, would have shown us all perhaps just a sliver of his sheer brilliance. But alas, it would seem he is but just a big dumb cunt that likes to beat his own drum." Fantastic. Done.
He's the Saab car of people, of wingers.
Yeah.
Because no offense intended, of course, to anyone who drives one of those fucking shoes around.
You're exactly right, because you see one and you're like, I can't remember. I think I heard somewhere that they used to be awesome. But with him, it was just him saying
You look
that.
at it, you go, it looks like a fucking Dunlop volley with wheels. Why is that prestige? Because some cunt pays $100,000 for it?
Yeah. Exactly.
It's like those fucking Kanye Crocs. Those Yeezy Crocs.
Fucking hell.
Those foam Yeezys or whatever from last week.
Jesus Christ.
The Cowboys 32. Loads of credit. Defeating the Knights 20 at the Bedpan up there in North Queensland. The Cowboys 32 came through tries to Justin O'Neill, Kyle Felt, Hamiso, and who actually played well. This guy, we'll get into it, but I shat on him last week. Clifford and Cohen Hess felt 5 of 5 conversions and a penalty goal. The Knights 20 tries to Hoy, Hunt, Mann, and Shibasaki. Ponga 2 of 4 conversions.
Well, travel? Was it the travel?
I
Who
just think
fucking knows?
they're starting to read the papers again like they did after Origin last year, maybe.
Yeah, that's true.
It's like they just can't fucking help themselves when they get a bit of a vibe around them, a bit of a buzz, and they've actually proved that they have proven they're the real deal.
Yeah.
And then, sorry, with the Knights.
Yeah. It just seemed that you're right. They almost went up there expecting it to happen. I know it's cliche, but they'd done enough and they'd had some convincing wins recently and gotten up in some games that they probably weren't expected to. But they went up there and just looked like they were going through the motions.
But the Cowboys so fast out of the blocks as well.
Yeah.
And it was just one of those miraculous games where everything they fucking tried in that first little stretch there, in the first half particularly, it just came off.
Yeah.
And they looked like fucking geniuses.
Yeah.
Like the passing, the crisp passing in the backline movements and just like the selective passes, just hitting their targets is unbelievable.
It's a very interesting contrast in how the Cowboys have responded to pressure than how the Broncos have responded to pressure.
Yeah.
And it just goes to show again, one of the big studies in sports, and this is a study done out of the US.
In Harvard, maybe.
Talks about team cohesion as being this important factor in any high-performing or championship team.
Yeah.
And gives a whole bunch of examples on how different successful coaches have nurtured that through their team. But one of the things that it does point to is that there are quicker turnarounds from poor performance
for teams that
are high in cohesion.
Yep.
And North Queensland definitely looked a more polished team than they had in the last couple of weeks.
And the Knights, they sort of, they didn't really creep that close, did they? I mean, I think they got a try immediately after half time and started looking like a point, but the Cowboys kind of answered that immediately, I think. And,
again, the Knights didn't get 50 put on them. They didn't get held to nil. They essentially lost by 12 points.
Yeah.
So the fact that they leak so many points would obviously be a concern for them moving forward. But if this game ended up being, 16-4,
yeah,
then it's not as much of a big deal. But
but it's more the fact that it was like 24 or 26-0 or whatever it was at half time.
And it was the fact that they were essentially ambushed and didn't get themselves together quickly enough to stop the game from getting out of reach.
Yeah.
On Twitter, Little Buffalo said, "Do the Knights think it's compulsory to play like shit in those Broncos-looking jerseys? Ha ha."
Oh, that's right. They rolled out the high vis this week, didn't they?
They did.
That is the dumbest fucking jersey, and the only saving grace for that jersey in this game was that they weren't playing the fucking Tigers like they've done in the past in that jersey.
Oh, my God. Blast from the past. At Egg Council Creeper said, "Ponga, the Cowboys reject is a fucking myth." Sharky Dave on the Twitter said, "Hey fellas, I think it's really important you hand out some credit this week. Write down some peeps' throats. A deep crediting." Jamie in the Facebook group said, "Ponga is an overrated coward." Oof. Ross said, "God, they are a hard team to follow at times," referring to his beloved Knights. Matt says, "Now I remember why we spent so many years battling it out with the Titans for the spoon." Daniel said, "In honour of the mining jersey, the most important part of a fly-in, fly-out job is to fly in." We forgot that. Ha ha ha. And we give the last word to Troy. "How good is rugby league? We're back. Premiership favouritism has skyrocketed. We've now beaten the Titans and the hype train." Doesn't get much better than that. There you go.
If you're going to be happy for anyone, be happy for him, because he always fronts up and cops it when
That's
when
it.
the Cowboys lose.
That's it.
The Titans, speaking of Titans, the Titans 30 defeat the Broncos 12 at Suncorp. The Titans had double to Don. Ash Taylor, Lasone, and Sammy also with tries. Ash Taylor 3 of 5 conversions and a couple of penalty goals. The Broncos 12 came from tries to Ben Teo and Herbie Farnworth, and Farnworth 2 of 2 conversions.
Well, talk about an ambush. There was one team that came out and was definitely up for this one, and one team that looked as if that they had no understanding of the current dire straits that they see their club in.
Although in this game, one thing about this game was the Titans didn't blow them away, and they kind of stretched it out towards the end a little bit. I mean, it kind of felt like it was a game for the most of it. You know what I mean? Like it didn't feel like the Broncos were completely out of it until like sort of the last 15. But
there were a couple of times where it was apparent, or to me at least, things like the Don try.
Yeah.
In games like this where you're really needing everything to go your way to keep yourself in the game mentally, stuff like that just breaks you.
Yeah.
And the Titans just did enough right so that they had opportunities like that present to them.
Ash Taylor slowly, like it's only incremental steps every week, but he's slowly getting the mojo back.
He is, but he's also showing week on week why he was in no way deserving of the fucking Rookie of the Year award. Or
the $1 million price tag, or however much they're giving him down there.
Yeah, that's true. Just little things in the Broncos, like can you explain to me the official ruling on challenging on a captain's challenge? Is it 10 seconds? Is it 30 seconds?
It's like 10, isn't it?
Is it?
Yeah, it's like it's quick. Yeah, you don't. I don't think you haven't done it very long.
But for Alex Glenn to miss things like that,
And look, at some, if it's unsighted to you and you can't, and the Channel 9 or whoever or the ground, where they don't oblige you by very quickly showing a slow motion replay of what happened.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, it's because it's quite a new thing. There are some players who you see jump up from something happens and they jump up immediately like,
"Oh my God, how could you?
I didn't do it. You've got to challenge that shit."
Yeah.
The thing is, I don't.
Excuse me.
I think in many cases, I don't think there are players. It's like when players jump up celebrating the scoring of the try and they clearly drop the fucking ball. I mean, like whether they actually believe it or they're trying to sell it or they just don't know any better.
Which is
it's
a
not.
part
And
of
if
the
you
game.
don't see it as the captain yourself and go, "Holy fuck, that was egregious," it's a massive leap of faith to actually go based on the reaction or the demands of a player on your side.
Here's the thing: I challenge anyone to jump up in the air, right? Try and catch a football.
Contested against somebody else.
Yeah, have 3 other blokes
Yeah.
jumping and knocking different parts of your body, and then get to the ground and have someone ask you, "Did you touch the ball?"
Yeah, to who or how many of the 8 arms that
Yeah.
are in the mix there?
That's it.
How many touched it?
That's it.
Yeah.
So, but it was especially stuff like when Don scored his try, they had a man in the bin. That's heartbreaking. Like, it's bad enough if you can't take advantage of an extra man and put more points on.
Yeah.
But to have them score against you in that situation,
It's the ultimate.
and you know the only thing that makes that better? It was just before half-time. Geez, wouldn't it be nice if they went in and there was a coach in there that had a good rapport with his dressing room and knew exactly what to say? No, they didn't have that either. So,
Now, I saw a thing today saying Anthony Don, a couple of years ago, maybe 2018, had a big money offer from the Tigers, and he's a loyal Gold Coast Titans player and wants to be a one club man, and so now he's going to accept basically fucking nothing, like scale, to get one more year out of them.
I remember, again, I don't know if this was, reliable or not, but that he actually took a pay cut to stay at the Titans.
I'm not sure if he took a cut or if it was just what he re-signed on for was significantly less than what was being offered by the Tigers.
And I always thought that just showed what an absolute fucking stalwart of the club that he was. That's new information to me, though, that the big money offer was from the Tigers. Because that would be like me being offered an extra 150 grand a year to go and work in fucking an open air office in Syria.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's more money.
Yeah, but conditions are important.
Correct.
Yeah.
So that actually means nothing and gives no further insight into his personality, because all he did was just avoid going to the biggest dumpster fire of the NRL era.
Saw a interesting story past this. You can go on the tweets if you want. An interesting story just crossed my desk.
Ooh. We'll give first word on this one to long-suffering Titans fan Hammers on Twitter. And this is all caps too. Suck my dick from the back, you shit cunt arrogant fucks. I hope all your kids grow up with tiny penises, especially the girls. Whew. JR_Buff said, this Darius Boyd farewell LLLLL tour has been great. Where do I get a t-shirt? Fuck, wouldn't that be great?
Yeah, I mean, the only problem is, you need to have to have the screen print. You need to have like a white rectangle that extends past where it's at, so people can Sharpie their own L's. Like they can keep adding them as required. Yeah.
JDHD44 said, watching the Titans run through the Broncos with 11 men on the field because Seabold doesn't know how to run an interchange is chicken soup for the rugby league soul. That is very true, sir. And that was fucking... Look, maybe we shouldn't pile on the cunt. He didn't know what to do. He was just throwing shit out there. Jason in the Facebook group said, it'd be more comfortable putting an umbrella up my dick hole and opening it than being a Broncos fan at the moment. Here. Nathan in the Facebook group said, Broncos, please score. I need to stop coming. Michael said, the Broncos have no fucking idea out there. When Fluffy is your best defender, your team is fucked. And I'll tell you what, hasn't been effective all the time, but obviously putting in a bit more. Light a candle there, Broncos. That's probably the saddest thing I can say to you. Tom Brady said, very dark day to be a Broncos supporter. I'd love to light a candle, but I can't see the light at the end of the tunnel at the moment. And Toto said, I'm so fucking angry at the performance. Just got to woosa and enjoy the rest of the holidays.
Honestly, Broncos fans, we're obviously delighting in this situation in which you find yourselves. And, the general NRL supporter world is... All you've got to do is you go, look, we've only been around as a club for, 30 and a touch years. And we've got like 6 fucking premierships. Yeah. Some teams have been around for twice or thrice that and not even got anywhere near that many premierships. Just think of the legacy. Think of the good times. This is just your time. This is your turn.
Yeah.
And you'll probably fucking turn it around anyway and scrape in like you did last year and get flogged by 50 in the finals. Where are we? Oh, yeah, the Eels 25 defeat the Raiders 24 at Bankwest. The Eels tries to Madison, Stone, Jennings, Sivo, Gutherson, 2 conversions. Moses 1, penalty goal to Gutherson and the decisive field goal to Gutherson. The Raiders 24 tries to Josh Papali, Whitehead, and a double to Chance Nickel Clockstad. And Croker 4 conversions. And they couldn't get it done in Golden Point.
Yeah, Canberra look...
This is a much more exciting game on paper at the end in the last, 8 or whatever, 15 minutes than it had any right to be.
Yeah.
Because it was looking like, for all money, another L on the decline tour of the Raiders and how quickly that fucking window was shutting tour.
Yeah.
And the Eels sort of had them in fairly well in hand.
Yep.
And it was just, all fucking care thrown to the wind and shit coming off.
Yep.
That got them back there at the end to really give it a grandstand finish.
But especially from even just the beginning of the year, like pre-break, like that fucking Williams kid was out running and gunning. It was fantastic. The Raiders as a team look a little bit rudderless. Like you've got guys there that are just pure fucking talent. Like Whiten is an amazing fucking running number 6. They've got strike power out wide. Nickel Clogstad had an absolute season to remember last year. They just look confused as to why it's not clicking for them. And if there's one thing that Ricky's always been able to do, he's always been fairly frank and good at speaking about it. He's coming out and saying, this didn't work, this is what we're working on. And then you can actually see them progressively fixing it on the field. I haven't seen any little areas of improvement so much from the Raiders. Tough for them as well, obviously losing troops. Do you want to talk about your good friend Coppercab and his fucking brain snap?
Oh, yeah, I'd actually forgotten about it. I mean, we were talking about it before we recorded, but look, I mean, he's now potentially out for the season now with a Liz Frank injury, and so I feel for the guy in that respect, but. You can't let yourself... people trying to frame this shit as like a mental health thing. It's nothing to do with that. This was a heat-of-the-moment situation on the field where... Who was it? It was Madison, and who was the other one in there for the Eels?
Yeah.
It was just shit cunnery from those guys. And then he's popped up taking exception to it, and he's just been like...
But really was it, though? Like, his ankle got caught under a body.
Yeah, but he's very, looking at it from his perspective, he's like, they're trying to, they've tried to do this and, fuck me over. And so he's got up and he just got so angry he couldn't express himself. So he starts.
Well, he could because he managed to get out, I'll fucking smash you.
Yeah. But obviously that his emotions were several magnitudes more intense than what he could enunciate through the power of words.
That is correct.
And so then we get the iconic picture of him, with the, you're saying like, I'll fucking smash you, but where it was more like, I'll fucking smash you. It was more of that one, And look, the thing is, he's a cheap shot, like tough guy kind of fucking, wannabe merchant as well. Yeah. I mean, just rewind last week against the Manly game where he was trying when we had the injuries early on, and so immediately he was trying to fuck jet ski over and and blindside him and all this sort of stuff. So if you're that sort of player, that sort of shit's going to come back, and boy oh boy, next time he's on the field, he's going to fuck it. Now he's just opened up an attack vector on himself for the niggle. That he's just going he's going to have to deal with the near future, if not the rest of his days.
Yeah, he's basically put a target on his head.
Yeah, he's given something like I'm sure, like to this day, I'm sure Mitchell Pearce he shits about dogs and like whatever.
Well, that Nathan Cleary got fucking trolled by the ground.
Yeah,
he was playing at,
and the fans are calling out TikTok and everything. Yeah, exactly. So,
and especially when if you react like that.
Yeah. But the point is, you've shown that they've gotten to you, in a big way, and then you've lost.
Yeah.
And this is not like it's not a mental health thing. It's not like he's been suffering from depression, and they were on top of him, saying "fucking kill yourself" or something.
Exactly.
It wasn't like they weren't hitting him below the belt or anything. Like,
and I'd looked at it. And I thought, oh, okay, was there a twist in there? Is that what he took exception to?
I thought that was like that. That's where it started. Like, he
Then
took
I've
exception
looked at
to
it, and his ankle got caught again under a body.
Yeah, I don't think they did anything
maybe
intentionally.
the worst thing was, like, you see it plenty of times. Somebody screams out at a certain intensity or level, and you see the tackler let go.
Yeah.
I thought that what he'd ended up taking exception to was the fact that they didn't, that they kept trying to go on with.
It looked like they kind of humped. To me, I just thought they were kind of humping him a bit.
Yeah, that's it. Which again, it's a shitty thing to do.
But you don't know the guy's injured or anything either. I mean, like, I'm not going to say they knew.
Unless he's screaming out my ankle, or my leg.
Yeah.
Fuck, who knows? But
yeah,
he's got a fucking target on him.
Yeah.
From every team, and there are some legitimate fucking. I can't wait.
Absolute germs
for James Fisher Harris to go at him, because he'll go at him as in, well, I'm a legitimate fucking hard man, so let's see how legitimate your hard manness is.
Yeah,
not very, if any.
Yeah, and the Curtis Scott experiment. Wow, I mean, I've often talked about Manly letting players go and at the right time and things like that. The Storm. They've had to lose players in more of the prime of their life, I think, just through salary cap constraints.
Yeah.
But Curtis Scott's going to be one where they look back on it and go, "Wow, we absolutely nailed the timing of that to the absolute minute of getting rid of him off our books."
Yeah.
Because fucking how many tries came through him? Not this game, this season. Like, just he is like the ultimate. Because remember Canberra, they built on. Like they built their premiership campaign last year, a grand final campaign, on tremendous defense and ceasing the choking.
Yeah,
that was how what they built it on. And this year, I mean, like, the choking's not a thing. They're not in the games at that time of the game to even fucking choke, really. And this you certainly couldn't count as that. I mean, but the defense now is just so much softer. And I mean, you wouldn't think it would be such an issue when you're swapping Curtis Scott out for BJ.
Yeah.
But fucking oath it is.
And the other part of that riddle is, BJ, for all of his fucking faults, and I'll get to this later on, obviously seems to be the fucking linchpin in any team that he's in, because old Rapana is a fucking shadow of his former self. And I know it's tougher playing outside somebody that you don't really know, you don't have any gel with.
Yep.
But even he's...
Who isn't throwing stupid passes at you? Like,
yeah. Like, when he's getting in there doing that usual Rapana stuff where he'll come in looking for carries and try and encroach on a tired defence, he's getting the ball stripped from him and then doing dumb stuff afterwards. He's, nowhere near as effective as he was.
Tweets.
First one. We got Matt. The Facebook group said, just a thought. Video ref calls knock-ons, but not forward passes, despite both actions being a decision on which way the ball leaves the hand. Also, Campbell Gillard is playing himself back into an origin jumper. Scott's shit plays in correlation with when he got that shit haircut. I think Scott has always been a shit cunt. It was just better hidden.
Mm-hmm.
RCG is not playing himself back into an origin jersey. There's too many in front of him. And I think origin is more than the league going to require absolute fucking beasts who constantly get quick play of the balls, and that's not RCG. Terry said Canberra were so brave. John in the Facebook group said, one of us played the Premiers last week, one of us tanked to a 3-person Manly squad like the NFL draft day was approaching. One of us is in the Premiership contender category, and one of us no longer are. Making golden point off the back of a blatant forward pass and still losing despite our best player wrapped up on ice on the sidelines, I'd storm off crying like a girl too. Bow down to our pineapple head king and keep looking up, peasants. Well, there you go. And Tristan said, the last episode might have made me sensitive to this, but I think the odds of Gutherson taking the title of most hated once Smith retires get shorter and shorter each time the commentators call him king. Para fans can call him whatever the fuck they want from anyone else. It's nauseatingly grating. Correct.
Yeah, but I mean, that is grating, but it doesn't make me hate the guy particularly, you know what I mean? There's a difference. There's a difference between Captain Cunthocks making a cunt of himself over, a decade and a half of a playing career, where he's, innovated the use of fucking, chokeholds and joint locks and all this sort of stuff to injure and, gain advantage over other players, versus the guy that's just doing his thing and the commentators are ejaculating over him. So,
exactly.
I don't hate the guy. I think there's going to be plenty more hateable people. Once Cameron Smith's gone, there's going to be people out there.
Oh yeah,
fucking Corey Horsburgh.
Yeah, exactly.
That's for one.
Exactly. Like, oh god, fuck that guy. Does he come? Oh god, how do you come back from that?
I don't know.
How do you come back?
I don't know, but I said last week, I wish Hudson Young would come and gouge my fucking eyes out so I didn't have to look at that ugly red-headed pig monster again. And let me tell you, like him with his crying face, 100 times fucking magnitude worse. just disgusting. Like I'd rather fucking lick Nathan Cleary's fucking forehead. Look at that cut. Are you done with the tweets?
Yep.
The Cronulla Sutherland Sharks 40 defeat the mighty Manly Seagulls 22 at Central Coast Stadium. The Sharkies had double to Katoa. Hamlin, Ueli, Ramian, Dugan and Goodwin and Blake Brayley with tries. Johnson 6 of 7 conversions. Manly's 22 came from a double to Adam Fanua-Blake, try to George Tafua and Tavita Funa. Garrick 2 of 4 conversions and a penalty goal.
You can have your say on this one in the interest of time.
First things first, I give credit to the Sharkies. I mean, they played very well. You can only play who you're up against. But I think that this was a failed experimental fucking week from Desi, and I don't know why, because it's a shortened season. You probably should value every point as highly, because just if you're dropping games, I mean, it's just you need your 2 points to make sure you get into the finals. But just the weird fucking, after Brendan Elliott last year was an absolute king at fullback, and like he's not brilliant, but he's safe as fuck. He's as safe as any fullback. I mean, like he'll take the high balls. Yeah. He's in position when shit happens. He cleans up shit in the in goal. I mean, he does everything you want. So then for like a last minute in terms of the team sheet, switch around and putting Garrick at fullback. I just don't quite understand why, because you had Sully out already, and so then you had Garrick on the wing. So to weaken, not to weaken, but to put an unknown quantity into fullback, and then put two unknown quantities, an unknown combination on the left-hand defensive side, right-hand attacking side of the field. It just seems fucking crazy, like to weaken two areas when you really only had to just do just put Elliott straight in and go from there.
If only you had a sexy good bloke as attacking coach.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, we were even talking about Penrith. The one thing we're saying is not there yet is the attack. It's the rest. Everything else is working great. So maybe if Ivan took care of everything, maybe you'd be scoring 40 points a game. You never know. And then the thing,
maybe that's it. Maybe Trent needs to spend more time on football attack and not getting fucking Nathan to attack the poon.
But and then the net result of having two players that have never played in that position on the field for Manly before, in that is 5 tries on that in just through those two guys.
Yeah.
And I mean, considering the margin was only 2 legitimate tries, because holy fuck, that last try, who fucking scored it? Was it Brayley? That bullshit when Wade Graham fucking tackled Curtis Sirenin when he was going to get, when he would have clearly I mean, if that had been us attacking, Curtis Sirenin would have been awarded a penalty try.
Yeah.
But in defence, they go, oh no, it's fine, let it through. But look, honestly, given the challenges of the reshuffle, I mean, they scored points, plenty of points easily. 22 points is enough to win any game. It was just the defence was fucking atrocious, and just the attitude in general. And I feel like it wasn't a short turnaround game, but it was like a short turnaround game. Like, I hear that because of the the Canberra game the week before where they had to play like, half the game with, 3 less guys and like the whole game with 2 less guys. They didn't train until Wednesday, so I feel there was just that general sort of the attitude and flatness that you get after like a short turnaround game that contributed a lot to it as well. But credit, I give full credit to the Sharkies. Oof. And but let's hope that Desi has finished his fucking experimental thing. Just put Big Dick Elliott in fullback, mate. You got Sully back this week, so then that way that side, that Garrick and Sully on that side is restored to its normal combination, and basically it's only just the fullback position you got to worry about. And yeah, we shall see, because I do like Lukafuna. I mean, he had one of those. He's proven that he's a finisher now. I mean, he had one of those tries where he's had to leap from 5 meters out and he gets launched out over the sideline from 5 meters out and finds
just
a way to glide through the air and just sort of put it in the corner and everything. Yep. So, I mean, he's definitely a player of the future for the wing or the center position. But yeah, we shall see. I mean, and the only other thing I'll say at this game is, and look, I'm not giving anyone anything. I understand. I'm not fucking reinventing the wheel here by saying this. Fuck Braithen Assett's a dumb cunt. The one game that I will always watch with commentary on is the fucking Manly game. And that dumb cunt said at halftime or in the course of the commentary of the game, the team as named, the 17 for Manly, was Brendan Elliott in the 1, Garrick in the 2, and and so on, right? And Funa, then when they ran Garrick as fullback and Elliott in the centres, he actually said, these late changes for... Like,
Jesus Christ.
They don't... I'm sure that Desi didn't just fucking spring it on them as they were about to try.
It's the one thing, I've said it before, I've had to put the volume back on just for the 6 again calls. Just to know when they're coming, because you actually get the sound from the ref before... Yep. You get the visual. Before
it takes quite a while for the thing to go.
That's it.
What I usually watch for when I'm not watching on the when I'm not listening to it. Sorry, you sort of, because they have the tackle count up there or like high sense or whatever, and then when you see that retracting, it's coming back out.
Yeah, again. That's it. Yeah. But yeah, fuck, Braithen Assetter is just
what a punish.
Yeah. But on the tweets, Simon in the Facebook group said, for some reason, I don't feel as angry as I should with Manly losing. Titans butt fucking the Broncos have taken the edge off and left me glowing. Jesus. Sharky Dave said, Manly lost Turbo but brought in a new player who bought a whistle and tried his hardest to give Manly the game. But the good guys overcame all the adversity and came home with a great result.
After you fucking got about fucking 606 against 0. Fuck out of here.
James said, Moylan and Townsend made it look like capable footy players rather than handy-capable ESL cunts. This is fucking unacceptable. Isaac on Twitter said, good stats. And he sent in a visual about the Sea Eagles for the past 2 seasons with effort face and without effort face.
Yeah, unfortunately, that stat, I had a look at that. I did see that, but and I would have brought it up and given it some clearance, except for the fact that with about 6 of the fucking games last year, there was no Cherry Evans and there was no Walker for about 5 of them. And so those...
So what you're saying is that he's not your club man to build a team around. He needs a supporting cast with him.
Well, what I'm saying is it's like they're not just like, it's not just, without Turbo. I mean, those games, the ones last year especially, were without a number of players.
Yeah.
So... Yeah, that's all.
But it's just the fact that
it's just the way. It's just the manipulating statistics to try and prove an agenda.
Because they're saying that your win percentage with him, without him, is actually 35.7%, whereas in 2020 it's 0%. So can only get better. Mitch in the Facebook group said, after a few tipsy-topsy upsets this round, it's refreshing to see the better team win. To be completely frank, the scoreline flatters those merge merchants Manly. It was a complete demolition job until Cronulla took mercy on their opponents and quite rightly put the cue back in the rack. It beggars belief that the Canberra Raiders had so much trouble with this toothless side last week. Oh well, they have the luxury of racking up experience before being eviscerated by this side in round 20. It should go without saying that the standout performances were by the Sharks' usual suspects, Moylan, Townsend, Johnson, Dugan and Woods. All stepped up in a game that, in all honesty, I wouldn't have blamed Morris for resting them in. I know it's a gimme for the Sharks, but I'm still proud of them. I'm also worried that the easily triggered Merge Eagle fans will be too quick to throw the coach and captain in the scrap heap. Get behind your boys. There's still a couple of winnable games for you this season.
Oh, can I actually just say one more thing I forgot
Yes.
about this game? We have like the Steve Rogers Cup that that is applied to like Manly versus Sharks games each year, and so I hope the Sharkies can find a good place to hang that award. Just let it sit. It'll land. It'll land with others. It'll land where it's supposed to.
Yeah. And the final word on this one goes to OG Ben in Facebook. Says, Volandis needs to bring in a new rule. If your team makes Chad Townsend look world-class, you should immediately fold and remove from the record books due to fraudulent existence.
Chad Townsend didn't look great. There was all Moylan and Sean Johnson, though. And Katoa.
Yeah. That's it.
These people just want... They just... It's like they want to suck Chad's dick. And so they're just trying to find any excuse to do it. You don't have to have an excuse, guys. Just jump on. Just chow down. The Tigers 34 defeated the Bulldogs 6 at Bankwest. The Tigers tries to Harry Grant, a double to Talau. BJ Leilua, a double to Nofaluma, and Dewey with tries. Umbai, 4 of 7 conversions. And the Doggies try to Remus Smith and a conversion to Jake Avarillo, excuse me.
The game pretty much went as expected. The Dogs get in and have their world absolutely fucking crushed by having their best player crippled within the first couple of minutes. They looked at a different team, especially in defence, with Hoju at fullback. But the football gods came in and fucking took him off their hands. The Tigers put in probably the most complete performance that I've seen from them this year, albeit against very understrength opposition. But it was interesting to see them get a run where they had a little bit of uninterrupted playtime. To be frank, I didn't think Reynolds would have the impact that he has, and whether it's just his energy.
You know what? The impact. Regrettably, I've been looking into the because we love Benji.
Yep.
And I've been watching. I went through and watched the extended highlights of every game this season, and his defense was pretty fucking bad.
Yeah,
like I will concede that in retrospect, and I think that's what Reynolds brings to the team. Just that he doesn't let fucking tries in.
Yep.
That's and I guess if that's all he does, then I guess it's kind of. It allows Brooks and Harry Grant to do things and
to do what they're doing, and that's the thing. Benji was obviously instrumental in most of their tries for the beginning of the year, but if they've got a solution that stops them leaking, whilst allowing the freedom of other players to create, then that's the option you go with.
And how dare Madge try and take the Tigers away from their historical fucking birthright and legacy, which is to let in 30 points and score 32.
That is correct.
How fucking dare he?
That is correct. Shibugan on Twitter said, "Is Mbai the new Gandalf? He does not like passing, does he?" Proud Bulldogs fan, GT351_John says, "I preferred the time earlier in the year when the NRL was not on. I didn't miss the NRL, and I certainly didn't miss these shithouse efforts. Everyone that disgraced the blue and white jersey tonight, give yourselves an uppercut. Bring COVID-19 back now to end the shit season." The real Ince Robbo says 6 is just an upside down 9, but I'll take it. Jason Hogan on Twitter, interesting stat this one. He said it's never good when your fullback, who only lasts 5 minutes, has more running meters than your hooker. I know Marshall King spent some time in the centres, but it's not good enough. It's fucking not. Super Grover said Holland couldn't catch the Rona on the Ruby Princess. Terry said, "Why is Adam Elliott the best option for a Dogs attacking kick on the last tackle? Fucking disgraceful to lose like this. The whole side can just fuck off."
Oof.
It did seem that the Dogs did enough that you can forgive them because they're a side lacking on talent. If they're just all going out there and busting their ass, but they are just not as talented as the players they're playing against, you can forgive them for being overrun. But yeah, when they're doing dumb shit like that all night.
They were in the first half. They were in this game for quite a long time,
Yeah.
and then that's where they hit that talent ceiling, and they just it's just effort. They work the field position, can't convert into anything, and eventually they just fall away.
Yeah, that's it. Now we're going to start getting into some of these Tigers tweets, and I'd just like you to contrast these, as I said before, with.
Yeah.
So the first one goes to Real Dad. It says, "I've never been one of these talk your team up types. Just happy to see some fine young men enjoying their time in front of some cardboard cutouts." That's as chirpy as you deserve to get after beating the Bulldogs.
Yeah.
So Stuart said, "I can't even make jokes about that game. That was, after the first try at least, the most controlled, pressure-building performance I can recall seeing from the Tigers. There's been chopping and changing and noises from Madge about what he wants to see improved, but if this is what all the pieces falling into place look like, I'm watching. I know it was the Bulldogs, but you've got to respect your opposition and play the game properly, and that they did." The final one we'll give to OG One-Eyed Tiger. Finally, the boys played for 80 minutes. Madge would be proud of that effort in D. Big challenge next week against Penrith, but we'll take confidence from that win. Enjoy your week on the bottom of the table with those Mars bars, doggies. That should translate into, that was a hardly opposed training run.
Imagine the pride being because you finally played an 80-minute game of football.
Yeah.
It just goes to show that the years and how the standard and the bar has been lowered.
Lift, Tigers fans.
These 2020 Tigers are going to be the greatest Tigers team in the history of the franchise by the end of the season.
Yeah.
When they finished ninth. Because they're going to, because the KPIs are play for 80 minutes a couple of times. Fucking
correct.
Harry, yeah. And then at the end of it all, they're going to be, oh my God, we build amazingly. What a fucking great season. See ya, Hazard. Back to Melbourne, you go, oh, fucking Billy Walters. Oh, well, there's another year out development when any of these shit comes we're actually left with.
Yes. I just don't want to see you get crushed, Tigers fans.
Because it's coming.
What a segue.
Right, okay, previews. Melbourne Storm versus Roosters Thursday night at Suncorp Stadium. Fucking wish you go to that one, hey? See some quality football in Brisbane.
Yes.
Okay, so Munster's out for a good couple of weeks. So Riley Jacks comes in with Hughes in the halves and Cooper Johns comes into the reserves. The Roosters. Okay, so we've got Jake Friend coming back to hooker. Verrills, unfortunately, he's gone. Radley, gone. Nat Butcher comes in. He's a very capable replacement. Teddy's back at fullback.
Yep.
So that moves Manu to centre. J-Moz returns to centre. And look, I think, okay. I just solely based on the fact that I just don't think that Riley Jackson Hughes can do a goddamn thing against what is an injury hit, but just it's just an incredible demonstration a demonstration of the depth they possess.
Yeah, that's it.
When they can lose some great players and replace them with Jake Friend and Nat Butcher.
Yeah.
So Teddy back, otherwise, settled Roosters side that's in good form, that's in winning form, and like a hit out against the Warriors is not the lead up to this sort of game. I don't think it'll be especially heavy defeat to the Storm because they do have that ability, just the DNA in the club to hang in there. But I think that the Roosters will win comfortably.
Yes.
The Raiders take on the Dragons at GIO. Canberra in Canberra. Oh, I forget, because this round is the round where home games become home games again.
Yep. Yeah. Except for filthy Victorians.
Oh, can we just take a moment to say how fucking disappointing and filthy fucking Victoria is.
You are the Nathan Cleary's forehead of Australia.
Exactly.
And not for the good reasons that he's his forehead.
But I mean, it's like it's the anger that I feel towards the state of Victoria at the moment, and their bat eating fucking habits that they're displaying at the moment, is that it's jeopardising the travel to the meetup at the end of October for members. If they don't pull their fucking shit together real quick,
Yeah.
unless the members are super committed and they fucking do like 14 days, like they come up 2 weeks earlier and then get released from quarantine the day before the meetups. But I mean, like, I'm not going to tell anybody to do that because that's a crazy level of. Anyway, back to the task at hand. The Raiders are a cunt circus at the moment. Curtis Scott's been benched, which is just great. But I mean, like, having him in 14, you don't need a centre as a utility. So I would hope he'd drop the fuck out by the time they get to the 17 an hour before kickoff. Oldie to start in the centre, ever reliable Michael Oldfield, and Tuppen is back, and he's a great replacement for Horsburgh, and no more tears. And Simonson comes back into the side now that Rapin is out. I think Canberra instantly better without Curtis Scott if he doesn't get pushed into the centres in future cuts.
Correct.
I think current form. I think Simonson's a better option than Rapiner. I don't know. I'm not sure about Oldfield in the centres. I'd almost be inclined to switch him out with Kotrick and just swap him around. But otherwise, the Canberra squad, it's about as good as it's going to get at this time. Dragons, they've had no change. And surely, Canberra in the month of July, surely.
Yeah.
Surely, right?
The Dragons have been improving. Some continuity and some stability in their roster and where they're fucking playing.
Yeah, not just swapping fucking players out willy-nilly every week after a loss.
Well, midway through a fucking game.
Yeah.
And that's paid some dividends. I think Canberra's ceiling is much higher than the Dragons. Maybe this Bateman saga being done and dusted with gives them some closure. I don't know how much that was affecting them. But no, I'm going to tip Canberra here.
The Eels take on the Cowboys. And this is the late Friday game.
Mm-hmm.
Bankwest Stadium.
Yes. So no change for them?
Nope. Dryfield comes in for the injured Mitchell Moses. David Gower replaces Alvaro.
Mm-hmm.
Val Holmes is a reserve for the Cowboys. May come back in. Opacek comes into centre. Justin O'Neill on the wing. It's tough, eh? I mean, like, it's hard to overstate the importance of Mitchell Moses in the Eels side. I mean, when they weren't playing great or weren't doing anything particularly spectacular, they were still winning because he could find the grass and kick to the corners.
Yep.
And they could follow it up with a good chase, and they could just control the fucking territorial battle in a game.
He was doing, and in hindsight, almost a Thurston-like performance. Not in skill or impact or anything. He's not at that level just yet. But in that thing of, I'll put the ball where it needs to be, and I will lead the fucking chase down there and scream at any cunt who doesn't follow me to hurry up.
Yep.
And that goes a long way, over the course of a game.
Can't go past the Eels at Bankwest.
Correct.
I mean, Cowboys was great. It was great to see him smash the Knights last week, but
2 weeks in a row.
Ish. Titans versus the Sharks at Hope Solo Coliseum. Dale Copley's out. Tyrone Peachy starts in the centres. Bryce Cartwright to the bench. Sharkies, Fafita and Hamlin-Ueli swap back again. Whether they'll probably swap back on game day. Look, you can't go past the Sharks. I mean, the Titans, not to the same extent the Dragons have, but they've shown improvement, I think.
Yes. But again, too much strike power for them to deal with.
Yep.
And there's only so many intercept tries that Don can score over the course of a season.
Sharks to win. Warriors take on the Broncos at Central Coast Stadium. So, Tuivasa-Sheckie's gone. Fusitu'a returns to the wing.
Yep.
Herbert to the centres. Wade Egan's back, which is a plus for them. Tanoa Brown and Parsi return to the starting side.
Has Hetherington been named?
He is straight onto the bench in number 15.
Yep.
So they're going to throw him straight in there
Well, there you go. The Broncos are going to get 47 penalties.
and potentially have a man advantage at several 10-minute periods through the game.
Yes.
So Oates has been dropped. That was the big news from the Broncos camp this week.
Yeah, interesting.
And there was some weird fuckery going on with Darius Boyd. Like, he came out to training when he was strapping the boots on and he was wearing, like, the high-vis, like, reserve groups, designator. And then he went back in, got changed and then ultimately didn't. And he's been named in 4.
Like, Oates obviously had his sin binning, but
it's just such a weird trajectory for him because he's always been that fucking Broncos player that could make anything happen.
Yeah.
And invariably from like a kick return or something like that. And then there was the talk of him moving into a back rower position,
which he'd always asked Wayne to do, and Wayne always said no.
Yeah, and he had his crack at that. And by the end of that game, that was the Manly game. And by the end of that game, he was out on the wing again. So yeah.
Yeah, but it's just if I'm dumping players, it's not the one that is so frustrated with the performance of the team that he's being binned for dissent. Yeah. Like, that's out of character.
Yeah.
Corey Oates is not a ref abuser.
No.
Yeah, interesting.
Osako comes back in. Flegler comes back from suspension.
And Milford's still there.
Look, it's really hard to recommend the Warriors, though. I mean, the internal ructions they have, this talk of 3 players potentially wanting to pull the pin and go back. I mean, it's disruptive shit.
Yeah.
I want to believe that the Broncos can get 6 losses in a row. I want to believe it. I tell you, I've got enough kids. I'll even fucking dedicate a nut to the cause if that's what it takes. But
I will try and impregnate a Tinder bitch. And you know what? I'll name my illegitimate child Fuss.
Warriors 13 plus. The West Tigers take on the Penrith Panthers at Bankwest Stadium. There are no changes to the 17 for the Tigers. Russell Packer is back from suspension in the 21. Panthers. Mansell replaces Naden, who then drops to outside of the 17. So, surely Penrith. I mean,
you have to tip Penrith.
You have to go Penrith. I mean, you just got to look at the.
Yeah. Again,
I'm not a believer of the West Tigers yet, to be perfectly honest. And also I'm not a believer in this, Leilua Nofaluma business either. I still believe that there's incredible fucking opportunity
to go at them all fucking night.
When they land on the same exact position where Kickow is going to be trying to fucking
kick out Crichton
from 5 meters out.
That's it. Although, and see, here's my thing. I'm a Mansell fan.
Yeah.
But if I've got to choose between him and Naden,
yeah,
even though he's young and he's got a brain snap in him, it's just Naden's got the pace that I would put him there over Sauce. And Sauce has been great this year.
I feel like that's all he's got, though.
He's been reborn. Yeah, and so when you've got people that are poor at making decisions when things are happening at high speed.
Yeah, but he could just get him out of position and just truck him.
Yeah.
And, maybe he doesn't slice through without a hand laid on him, but he might just run straight over the top.
That's not Josh anymore, though. Since the face, he's not the put the head down and carry someone on your shoulders over the try line anymore. But, yeah, fuck, who knows, stranger things.
Panthers are going to win,
in the forwards.
Without
Fisher Harris.
Yeah.
Absolute fucking anally. Put your house on it.
Mighty Manly Ring of Seagulls take on the Knights at Brookie. So Sully comes back into the side to fix the back line there. I presume that although he has been outside of the 17, I still think that Brendan Elliott will probably be fullback, and then they'll flick Funa and Garrick will go back to the wing. But we'll fucking see. I mean, Desi, is not a slow learner, and he's not someone that dwells on poor decisions and keeps trying to make shit, persist with dumb shit like a Mary would, or a Seabold, if you will. So, and I expect it's a general lift in attitude. The Knights, Bradman Best returns after his COVID business last week. Shibasaki's out. SESE returns to starting lock. Glasby did not pass his HIA from last week. And Pasami Solo joins the interchange. Oh, Tautau Monga's still there. You go. He's an 18. I thought he was gone. Well, there you go. Look, Manly Brookvale, fucking lock it in, and Danny Levi revenge game as well.
Ooh, I'm calling it.
Yep.
Yeesh.
And Callum Ponga is going to get absolutely fucking all I want out of this game, other than the 2 points, two important 2 points. I just football gods, hear me now. Please let Callum Ponga sweep right and meet George Tafua in another highlight for his reel.
Yeah.
I will. If George could get Ponga with similar to the one that who was it that fucked Moylan the other week?
DWZ. Yeah.
If George could do that to Ponga,
Yeah.
like to say I would come would be an understatement.
It's an opportunity for Newcastle to right the ship.
Yeah,
and they're
both
not,
sides really.
They're not in the premiership contender conversation at this stage
Here's
of
the
the
thing:
season.
they were last week.
Yeah,
though.
they were.
Like they were like a week and a half ago.
Correct. And the way they respond to what they dished up last week will go a long way to if they are included and how seriously they're included moving forward.
Yep. Oh, and I also see that hopefully it takes. But the other thing I didn't mention in the game, the thing when Desi, like twice this season, he's split Fanua Blake and Tapau.
Yeah.
Like those two, like as a front row pairing, are the best in the comp. And in a game with the rules change that it seems to be so important to getting early momentum and that sort of thing, why wouldn't you just fucking put your big guns out and just fucking blast and dominate from the word go? He split them twice this year. Once was the Broncos game.
Yep.
18-4 half time.
Mm-hmm.
Next Sharks game, 18-6 half time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, it's fucking don't do it, man. Just fucking don't.
Maybe he's starting to get a bit of Canterbury Des about him.
Yeah, Canterbury Des was gone to 2 grand finals. So, I mean,
Sorry, maybe he got a little bit of end of Canterbury Des about him.
So yeah, Manly obviously 13 plus. Knights forever our bitches, and Bradman Worst and the fucking hype machine are going to be they're going to be giving Corey Horsburgh fucking lessons on how to tap into your emotions. The doggies take on the rabbits. Rabbits. I don't even fucking talk about it.
Yeah.
Hopper Jr.'s out for like the year or for ages, isn't he?
Yeah.
So
Yep.
no, honestly, no Hopper Jr. That's like he's 30% of that fucking side. He's still great.
Well, he is their entire goal line defense.
Yeah. He is still great.
Yes.
And without him, they are legit 30% worse. So yeah.
Correct.
Hey, is old mate? Oh, he's not quite here. He's not quite out of quarantine yet, is he? Luke Thompson.
No.
I'm interested to see how he goes when he starts. That's literally the only reason to watch Doggies games in the coming weeks. Rabbitohs, it doesn't even matter. I mean, Latrell Mitchell's a fullback. I know. Doesn't matter.
Yep.
Does not matter. They're going to get fucking trucked. And it's going to be one of these games where we go, oh my God, Latrell's amazing again. He's fucking back.
Don't Tigers fan it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Remember you playing.
Yeah. Mailbag. Right. So last week we had Sam said he wanted to say Seabold sucks in a few languages. It's kind of hard to translate Seabold sucks because, you know, it's a very ambiguous, like it's very clear what it means in English.
Yeah. And Seabold will be the same in...
Yeah, yeah. So but if you want to say Seabold can't coach...
Okay.
So in Vietnamese, Sibo Hong Te Huan Ni Vang. Swahili, Sibo Hawezi Kufunga. Chinese, Sibo Bunong Chi Tao. I got all the languages, bitches. What other questions have we got here? Oh, some of these things have just fucking gone over each other. Let me just delete that one. So
Just
I can see there we
three
go.
is not all the languages, just putting that out there.
No, but I mean, I could have gone the easy options like Spanish and French and Japanese and ones that I actually
Le
studied in German.
Seabold, le cunt face.
Ne peut pas cocher.
Well, you know, yeah, that's obviously, you know, Spanish. It's just Seabold sucks.
Thibo no puede entrenar. Okay, so Terry Bull, can we have no more hashtags for rat bags? I'm game.
I don't understand that at all.
Stuart said, is there any recording or verbatim transcript of what Bellamy and Smith said to the Warriors? I'm intrigued to know just how they chose their words to find a balance between gloating and being encouraging. When you consider Bellamy's record as a man manager and Smith's record as a referee influencer, I reckon we could glean a lot from how they spoke to that dressing room. I too would love to know. And as far as I know, there were no journalists in there. The reason why I say that is because it would have been, they would have recorded it and it would have been transcribed for the articles.
Yeah, and also I think with their motivations, you know, I think with Bellamy it would have been at most a courtesy thing, him going in there and doing it. Cameron Smith, it was just an inflated sense of self-importance.
Who just typified his career.
Exactly, so no, I'm not interested at all. Fuck them.
Dan said, does Sticky deliberately recruit forwards who are a bit touched? I thought I'd seen it all after Hudson Young's blatant eye gouge in front of 24 TV cameras. Then came Hornsberg's bizarre theatrics. Until then, I'd only ever seen toddlers cry a tear of rage. This is what happens when they're too angry to get the words out. That's exactly what it was.
Ricky seems to go for that stereotypical, you know, you can't coach passion or you can't coach heart.
Yeah.
And that goes one of two ways when the going gets tough. They either put their head down and whiten it through, who got himself through some shitty performances, and by the end of the game was man of the match last year.
Yeah. Oh, and remember, he started off the season and still got paid.
Yeah, that's it.
That sort of thing. Yeah.
Or it goes to, oh, fucking smack you. And that's... yeah, so passion. Unpredictable since 1975.
The other thing is, what kind of a fucking stereotype meme human do you have to be a red-headed person who loses their shit emotionally?
Yeah, exactly.
Has there ever been a study done like the corollary with redheaded people and like heightened emotional response to stuff?
Yeah. Well, no, but let's do it. Please, someone give us a grant. Someone send us the paperwork to fill out.
Yeah, and presumably it'd be a juicy federal grant that would allow us to devote like a good 2 years
and get us some fucking lab coats.
Speculums.
An SPF 8 million.
What else we got here? Nathan said, why are the Broncos so shit and why does it make me so happy? Look, we can make some guesses why they're so shit. Just, everything we've said on the show.
Look, it looks...
Why does it make you so happy? Because you're a normal human being and it is a normal human response.
I've been through a situation with Penrith where it is obvious that whatever the coach is putting down is getting through a certain amount to a certain percentage of the players.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's that other percentage of the players that don't get it at all, but have enough experience to half know what they're doing.
Yep.
And then there's the rest of them that just don't get it and they're completely lost with everything that's going on in the club. And that's what the Broncos look like to me at the moment.
Yep. Daniel said, when the Dogs do sack Dean Pay, who's the new coach and what does the reported $3 million war chest buy? Well, I really think they need to invest some money in another half if they don't manage to retain Kieran Foran.
Yes.
Maybe Blake Green, maybe there's a possible destination for him. They need a fucking game manager, which they do not have.
Yes.
That's one thing they need.
Yep.
Some money's going to go into Thompson. There's probably plenty of forwards that are out there that they could try and buy.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't they try and land a big fish if they've got if that $3 million war chest is real, then why don't you invest some of that in the likes of a David Fifita? If you could.
That's it.
I mean, it seems like he's prepared to go for money.
They're apparently going after Bateman.
Yeah, and I mean, and he's not super expensive either. I mean, they're sort of talking like 3 or 4 years for $2 million. I mean, that's worth it.
Yeah,
that's
100%.
not overs.
But you look at any club, like the last club that had any sort of success was probably Manly that had young halves. Brisbane got to a grand final with relatively young halves.
Yep.
But Manly had some success with it when you had
A
Cherry
super,
Evans.
and that was like first year in the NRL.
But you also had representative level players in very key positions around them that had longevity together. Like you had the Stewart brothers,
you had Matt
Watmow.
Ballin who was solid as shit and reliable, and then you had like the Stewart brothers combination, and then Jamie Lyon obviously was I mean and like Beeve, they had so many fucking people. You think well, I didn't actually know Beeve in 2011 though. They had Beeve when Foreign started, but so actually no, he just missed out on that era, but boys, they had fucking tons of experienced guys. Right? But I just feel like because for what he brings to the table, he's not like a game managing half.
Not at all.
So if they could get someone like a Blake Green who's got a decent long kicking game and can handle that side of things, I think that would improve them immeasurably because they, But man, are they even going to sack Pay? I know they had the meeting and the support thing.
Yeah.
And I know that he's probably closer to getting the axe than any other coach I think.
What's he been allowed to do, though? Like, seriously, what changes has he been allowed to make to that roster since Desi had it? Desi got Napa in there, didn't he?
Don't know.
Or is that...
No, because Desi had a year off.
That's right, yeah.
He had a full year off before he came back so...
but he really hasn't been able to make any massive changes to that.
Or has the changes he's made just been shit?
I don't think that makes it worse.
Is this his third year?
Fuck, who knows?
I mean, at some point you got to fucking. It's not like at some point.
Yeah.
You can't. I mean, you're not. No one's going to tell me that that Luke Thompson is like the first signing he's made or anything like that.
Jesus Christ!
Because if that's the case.
Yeah.
Well, just DWZ. Yeah. Look, you got him in there as well.
True. Yeah, true. Crichton.
Michael, what are your thoughts on the Broncos? What's wrong? How do we fix it? Common theme this week. What's wrong? I just think that. Yeah, well, you hear. I mean, we hear what the media allows us to hear, but I've heard all sorts of shit. Like the basic genesis is there are players on too much money who are not living up to that. Showing the leadership that their price tag and position within the side dictates.
Yep.
Yeah. And so then you got to look, okay, so why? And Seabold apparently he doesn't have like a lot of buy-in for what he's doing. Apparently he's like super complicated the way he's like the opposite of Bellamy. Like Bellamy gives people a simple list of KPIs to achieve that makes their job very easy to focus on.
Here are the 4 things that you have to do, and you have to make sure that you do these 4 things all the fucking time.
Apparently, Seabold, he dictates very heavily. This is where Milford. This is where you operate on the field. Croft. This is where you operate on the field. Things like that. That I guess for like a Milford type character who seems to his highlight reel seems to be about off the cuff.
Like how many times last year were Brisbane out of a game, and then Milford would do some fucking vintage Milford shit and run around 3 guys and do that thing where he didn't look to be going fast, but no one could fucking put a hand on him, and then he'd put a chip through and he'd all of a sudden be there catching it.
Yep.
Yeah, why stifle that?
And then there's the other like intangible things like the like the team culture, and then there's the talk of well they got away from. Shunning when they shun Kevin Walters, who seems to think that he had almost like a verbal agreement to be taking over after Wayne, and then and Kevin Walters has the buy-in from all these other ex-players who are all still sort of attached to the club in various ways with their tendrils in there and very influential. Then then there's the mysterious story of what happened with the Josh Maguire. Like Wayne Bennett was saying that he had 2 weeks before he went to the Cowboys, Wayne Bennett still had the side, and he's had talked to him about him being one of the top tier leaders within the side, and this is what was going to happen. And then Seabold talks to him, and he's fucking boom, he's gone up to the Cowboys. So there's just I think the story of what's wrong with the Broncos today is not going to be written for like another couple of years, potentially when some more people moved on from the situation.
The genesis of it was the board up there did the good old fucking chop and change thing.
Yep.
As in South Sydney have had a modicum of success this year. So we need a new coach because we're not really happy with our results. And so we just put our blinkers on and think that the successful thing out of that club must be the coach because that's what we need a new one of, and we'll just transplant it and get success.
Yep.
Fucking naive.
Even saw in that thing with that Wayne Bennett where he's saying like the Broncos were like they're having a coaching selection, you know, to see who they make an offer to, and like Dimitri has obviously been a guy like waiting in the wings for a while too. And Wayne said, don't even fucking bother, dude.
Yeah.
He said they've already decided, like they're saying that they're selecting it. They've already decided on Seabold. Don't even fucking waste your time, mate. You know. Russ says, how many other Horsburgh passionate tears of rage instances can you recollect? Honestly, none. Like crying with anger.
Yeah.
I can't recall any. But I'm not going to say it was the first time it ever happened though. So by all means, hit us up if you remember any. Let us know, because I'm certain that there'll be other ones. But
yeah,
surely, Ross. I have a bit of an issue, the change where referees will be able to immediately restart the tackle count when markers are not square or break early to play the ball. There are a few clubs, especially Storm, who when tackled, take a step forward and to the side or lunge forward into the marker to get their roll-on happening, or then Smith runs into the marker and wins a penalty. This could be a disaster. I agree with what you're saying. However, I also want to light a candle and perhaps preemptively hope for the best here, that if they step to the side or take that step forward, like at the moment, too many step forward, they just blow the whistle and say, fucking march it back 3 meters or whatever. And I am hoping that what happens is if they step to the side, they'll just consider it, because for the flow of the game and everything, I hope they'll just consider that milking. Same as if you're, same as if you're spacking out too much on the ground.
Correct.
Trying to make it look like they're holding you down and they call milking. Hopefully, a step to the side will be considered milking. So therefore, if you do it, and their marker, you get no benefit to it because you won't get the 6 again, and the marker will be able to step across early or whatever, which may give you less roll than you initially wanted to.
Correct.
What else have we got here? Dane said, what's bigger, Hope Solo's cavernous clam or the hole Curtis Scott leaves for the opposing attack to run trains through?
Ooh, a lot of Curtis Scott hate this week, and rightly so. Hope Solo.
Sam, for this week's Seabold Sucks segment, we should go through the alphabet to describe him. For example, A for arrogant, B would be for plan B, he never has one, C is for contracted too long. Send them in, folks. Send them in. Nathan said, Josh Hoffman spotted at the Brecky Creek Hotel. Wonder if signing with the Broncos. He lives in Townsville.
Ooh.
Maybe.
Oh, well.
And just hit the tipping quickly. Knights Crusade 2020 is on top by himself.
There you go.
And then
there's some credit.
Then we've got 4 guys tied on 41, which is 6 again, One-Eyed Tiger, Cowboy, and Christian Lynn. And then we go back, there's probably another 10 guys on 40. So we've got JBB, Andy, Sneaky Kiwi, Mike Corona, and King Kong. So that's it. Full time for episode 357. Thanks for listening, everyone. As always, you can interact with us on Twitter, so follow at TWI League. Facebook community lives at hashtag TWIL Nation. So get in there if you can. We're seeing new people flood in there every day. And it's I assume it's new listeners that have seen the featuring on Apple Podcasts. So thank you. Welcome. The community is facebook.com/groups/TWIL Nation. We're also on Facebook. Facebook page is facebook.com/This Week in League. And you guys seem to have no problem finding that because we've seen the likes come in there every day as well.
Get in and make yourself known in the group.
Yeah. Don't be shy. I mean, when we approve your entry into the group, just post some shit. Let us, who do you support?
Yeah.
Jump in the banter. Paint a target on yourself immediately. And
exactly.
And prepare for the good times.
So it's basically like primary school. You'll know that you're popular if you're getting shit hung on you.
Exactly. We'll just walk in there and just have a read of some of the threads, and then just walk up and just punch the punch the person who posts the most in the face. Isn't that how it's prison rules? So if you'd like to support the show, make sure you drop us a rating and a review on Apple Podcasts. And if you want to go the extra mile, our digital memberships are still available and can be picked up anytime for only $3.99 per month.
$3.99.
And we did have some reviews, but I didn't paste them in this document, so I'll do them next week. I know one was from Biggest Tiger, though, so thank you, sir. You're a legend.
Wonderful.
And the other one, I cannot remember off the top of my head. It was a week more recent than biggest one. But thank you for the reviews. Really appreciate them, and I will read them out next week. That's it.
Nice.
You have anything else to add, sir?
Nope. Hashtag Eerie of Cleary.
That's just a sigh. Just a way to end the show on a fucking low.
Oh, stop it.
That's basically like the end of Seven. It's just like, oh,
yeah,
shit.
Gwyneth Paltrow died. How good was that?
Yeah, it was great, but I mean, Brad Pitt seemed like
There
a
you
good
go.
dude.
Yeah,
he didn't deserve that. He didn't deserve that anguish.
think of all the fucking rolled ankles on vagina eggs.
It's like fucking Nathan Cleary. I mean, like he wakes up and he looks in the mirror and he sees the fucking pus oozing out there,
exactly.
and he turns around to the 5 in his bed and he's just like, "What's in your box? What's in your box?" See you next week.
Later.